also on the NALA YouTube channel. So that's NALA Ireland YouTube. If you click on videos, there's a range of videos about Learn with NALA and about other NALA webinars that were recorded are there. So that's the NALA Ireland YouTube channel. So over to you, Katrina, and good luck.
Great. Thanks very much, Fergus. And thank you everyone today for taking the time to attend this webinar. We really appreciate it and appreciate your interest and use of NALA resources as well. So what I'm going to run through today is how you work as a centre tutor on Learn with NALA. Okay, so some of the things that we ask you to do as a centre tutor is obviously to help your learners. That's to create accounts and register for courses, help learners through a course by giving them guidance, to monitor their progress, particularly what we're going to call end test results. I'll explain what that is later in this webinar. To support learners in preparing portfolio work and to check the portfolio work before the learners submit it. So you're really this support to learners in the platform, and what you'll see is that we do put up your centre logos. So when you register as a centre with us, there's a space there that we're saying that this is a Learn with NALA resource, and it's a NALA platform, but the learners are very much your learners, which is why we're going to give you tutor access to be able to support and monitor your learners' progress. So the first thing that I'm going to go through is getting started on the platform. So how do you get your learners started? Well, there's 2 steps. The first one is that learners have to create an account, and we will provide you with a link to do that. And then the learners need to register for 1 or more courses, but at least 1 course. Just a note, if those of you had worked on our old platform called Write On, we didn't take any learner work over from the old one to the new one. So any learners who worked on that need to start afresh on the new platform and need to create an account and go through those 2 steps of creating the account and registering for courses. And please also note that if a learner creates more than 1 account, so if they have 2 accounts, we can't merge the work. So you may have learners who maybe have come across this platform independently themselves, and they may have created an account. We won't be able to merge that work to a centre account, so just to be aware of that. But we can give advice on some things that you could do to help a learner fast track through a course. So just to recap on those 2 steps, the first thing is that the learner needs to create an account with a centre link that we in NALA will provide. So what happens is that you would register as a centre. There would be a contact in your centre that would fill out a form and would provide the names of all the tutors in the centre who want to register and use the platform. And we would send an email to all those tutors with a link specifically for your centre. So the learner needs to fill out a form and then register for courses. And once they've registered for courses, then they would click into the platform, pick a course, and then start going through lessons. So let me demonstrate this. So on this page here, okay, what you'll notice is a long link, courses.nala.ie, and then there's a long piece to it. So this is emailed to you as a centre tutor. And there's a code in here at the end, a particular code which maps to your centre. So if I just scroll down this page for a minute, at the bottom you see it says Learning Centre Involve Youth Project Navan. Previously on our old platform Write On, we had about 190 centres using it, and there was a long list of centres that learners had to go and trawl through to find their centre, and sometimes learners signed up with the wrong centre. So to try and make it easier now, we email you directly this link. Hopefully when learners are back in centres, you could then have that link bookmarked on, PCs in a computer room and so on. And then the learner would simply go to that link and they would fill out an account information page. There's a video here that explains all the details that are below. We are making improvements to this over the summer, and we'll put in Browse Aloud to allow learners to read out all the text that's going to be on the page. So that is coming in the pipeline. So I have started to pre-fill this account. And just to give you an idea, the kind of details the learner needs to put in: a username, so something like their first name, or it could be a nickname, a password, so the learner gets to choose their password, an email. Please note that the email has to be unique. So in the past, we did have tutors who would have maybe provided the learner with their own email if the learner didn't have an email. For those of you who are not in an ETB, we have a requirement from SOLAS to upload learner details to the SOLAS PLSS database, which all learners in ETBs also have to do. So please note that if you do provide your tutor email details may end up on that database. So we really do ask that learners have their own email address. I appreciate that not everybody might have it, but I think it is good practice to maybe start putting in things in place to allow that. And it could simply be a Gmail account, which is free to set up. If you need any advice on that, feel free to contact us on that as well, and we can help support learners in setting up email accounts too if needed. Then the learner would fill out their first name, last name, the address, so that would be maybe a house number, street name, town, county, country, phone number, and PPSN. We do ask that the learner provides their PPSN up front. Again, I appreciate that maybe not every learner might have a PPSN, but it is a requirement for uploading to SOLAS's database, as I say, that learners do provide that, or to try and provide it as soon as possible if you wanted to use something like this. Okay, so gender, then date of birth, the center excuse me, is automatically picked, and then there's terms and conditions and a privacy policy. So if I click on terms of service, for example, it'll just bring me to another page, and there's a video that can be played there that will explain all of the details below. Okay, and the same with the privacy policy. So that'll be explained to the learner in a video. So if I tick those buttons and click on Create Account, then that's the first step done. So that form is filled out, the learner has put in all their details. Now the second step is to register for a course. So I can pick from bundles, for example, major awards at level 2 and level 3. For example, if under level 2, certificate in general learning, I click here. I'll just increase the size of this a little. If I click on register now here, it'll automatically sign me up for 6 courses. So those being reading, writing, listening and speaking, pattern and relationship, using technology, and personal decision making. And if a learner was to do all those courses, they would get successfully, they would get a minor award for each one. So that would be 6 minor awards, plus overall they'd get their major award in general learning. So I can sign up for that by clicking on register now. And if at this point I wanted to sign up for other courses, I could click my back button. Okay. All of these steps as well, I should say, are captured in videos, which we would send to you when you're registered as a tutor on the platform. So you would get access to all those videos as well. I can also pick from short courses. So individually, I could select a course like level 1, and I often recommend for learners who might be particularly nervous using technology, maybe to start at level 1. There's no assessments at level 1. There is no QQI award either at the moment, but that's something that we're working on. But all the content within the course would map to QQI learning outcomes. So it would mean that if a learner had done all the coursework, then in time when we do provide QQI certification, the learner would potentially be able to go forward for QQI award at level 1. But it's a nice way as well, I think, to introduce learners to the platform. So that's maybe something to think about. So I might sign up for that by clicking on register now. And I could sign up for one more course at this point. We've just launched some new courses called Preparing for Level 3. There's 4 there at the moment and 3 more to come out in the next week. And those are courses designed for people who are moving from level 2 to level 3, particularly these ones in the area of maths. And there's a lot of nice resources in there, videos and so on, which I hope will be really useful to people over the summer when maybe, tutors aren't available and centres are closed and so on, that learners could work through that content themselves at their own time and pace if they wished. So I'll sign up for one of those as well. Okay, and now if I click on clicking here, and I'm just going to put in my user account details and my password that I had chosen myself, and click on login. This will bring me then into the platform. Okay, so the platform looks like this. This is the home page of it. My account name is up there in the top corner, and all the courses that I've signed up for are here. Okay, so they're all under all. The different levels of courses will be available under different tabs. So for example, you saw me sign up for the level 2 general learning. So when I click in that, the 6 courses that I've signed up for are there. My level 1 course, I just signed up for 1 course, is available there. And that Preparing for Level 3 course is available there. Okay, this Brightspace course is just I suppose a holding tab at the moment. The name of the platform is Brightspace from the software developers. So we may put some content in there over time, but don't panic about that at the moment if you see it. Okay, so for a learner then to get started in a course, they would click on a course. So I might choose, in this case, say using technology. So I'd click on it. And then this is the home page of the course. So if I scroll down here, there's a video that I can play that would explain what the course is about. The second video explains how I might get a QQI award in this course. So we do offer QQI awards at level 2 and level 3 on the platform. And if I click on content to start into the course, then the first thing I'm going to see on this page is a block called What Do I Already Know? Okay, so this is what we call NALA's recognition of prior learning. Okay, so in this particular course, there would be 3 tasks. The idea being that if a learner had some prior knowledge and they passed those 3 tasks, they could fast track through the course and they don't necessarily need to do all the lessons. Okay, so we can see there are 3 lessons here. There's 3 tasks. They all map to 3 learning outcomes from QQI. And to simply get started then, I can click on Start Here. What you'll notice on all the screens are these little buttons. So it's a speaker symbol, and that reads out the words beside it. Okay, so that's useful for people. And then to navigate, I can click on Next. And then an activity is going to appear that I'm going to do. Okay, so there's different types of activities in the platform. This one is called drag and drop. The idea being that I have to match the pictures with the headings. So I might click on a picture and drag it to where I think is right. And just notice as I'm dragging it, there's a little plus sign appearing just as I'm dragging it over the heading. So my recommendation is if you drag it over the heading that you think is right, and then just release with your mouse or finger, the picture will drop down under the heading. Okay, so if I drag the rest of these across, and then if I'm happy with everything that I've done, I can click on check answers and I'll get a score. Okay, so that's the first task done. So I'll go on to the next one. Okay, so this is a similar type of drag and drop, only it's words that match under headings. So again, I'm going to just drag those to where I think is right. And again, check answers and I get a score. And then I'm going to do the third task. And in this type of activity, there's questions that the learner needs to answer. So they need to read the instruction and then click on what they think is the right answer by clicking into this circle. Okay, so when I do that, continue appears, which brings me on to the second part of the question. And I'll do the same thing again. And then I get a score. Okay. So at the very end, on the conclusion page, there's two videos that I can play. The first video is one that I can play if I think I answered everything correctly. And the second one is a video that I can play if I think I got all the tasks wrong. Okay, so all of this is also explained in a tutor guide, which I've put in as a handout into the webinar today as well. So if you click on the handouts section of the control panel for this webinar, you should be able to get it. And I'll also show you as a tutor very shortly where you can download the tutor guide. So these videos would recommend to the learner that they click on back to content. Okay, and this will bring them back to this lessons page again. What you'll notice now from that first block, what do I already know? There was 3 tasks there. I've gone and done all 3 tasks and they've disappeared. So there isn't an option to do those tasks again. So it's a one-time go. If you think of it like this, it's a sort of a pre-course test. So testing somebody's skills to see, well, what knowledge do they have? But you can only do it once. You can't do it a second time. Okay. What you might have also noticed now is we had the 3 lessons here, but now this end test has appeared. Okay, so this is a summative assessment. And this summative assessment is only released based on release conditions. The release conditions being I had to have got all the tasks answered correctly. So just to give you an idea what the end test looks like, I can click into the block and what you'll see is, again, there's a start here page and 3 questions, each one mapping to those 3 learning outcomes. So the approach to doing these courses, and you can decide this with the learners if you want, you can do that first block, what do I already know, or the learners can do it. And if they get all the tasks correct, then they can skip over the lessons and go straight to the end test and do that. And if I get all of these questions right, then I would be able to put myself forward for a QQI award. So it can be done as quickly as that at level 2. So just to give you an idea of what the questions look like in the end test, I'll do the first one here. So again, it's based on the same learning outcomes, so very similar kind of themes to what you've seen already in the first block. So you're relaxing at home. What one thing might you use your smartphone for? And I'm going to click on to look up information. And then the next question, when you get a new mobile phone with internet access, which one of the following apps is already installed? And I'm going to click on weather. Okay, and I got the question right. Okay, and then there would be 2 more questions to do. And if I get those right, then that's it. I've done everything that I need to do for an award in using technology at level 2. I should say that the Using Technology Award at level 2 is the shortest course that we have. At level 3, there's a lot more involved, including portfolio work. Okay, so just to go back to the slides again and to recap, you can decide as a tutor with the learners if you want them to do that first block, or you could go straight into the lessons and do the lessons. Overall, doing an end test with portfolio work where it exists equals course completion. Okay, so the learner would have to get all the questions right at the end test and do portfolio work where it exists. So the ways through the course are you can either do all the tasks correctly, like I did, you could skip that first block and do all the lessons, or you could do a combination of things whereby you might get some tasks wrong and then brush up skills by doing the equivalent lessons. And I'm going to demonstrate that very shortly now. And the learner themselves can view their progress either by clicking on grades or a progress button at the very top of the screen. So let me go back again. Okay, sometimes these little pop-ups appear, which is basically a way of us giving a badge for skills that the learner has got. So I can click on, for example, awards and see that I've got badges. So I've got one badge for each task that I got right. So that, and overall, then there's a certificate at level 1 and preparing for level 3 that the learner could print out. So if I go to the home page, okay, so it brings me back to all my courses again, and click up here and on progress, then I can see a progress report for all the courses that I'm enrolled in. So we see listening and speaking here at the side. Let me just make this a little bigger. We can also see the other courses that I've enrolled in, like pattern and relationship and personal decision making, that I've not done anything on yet. And the using technology one, where I can see at the moment I'm unsuccessful. So if I click on that and click on grades, and all of this, as I say, is explained in the tutor guide. Here under other items, I can see the 3 tasks. I can see that I've passed everything, and I can see the first question that's been done in the end test and that's been passed. Okay. So if I log out and log in with another learner account, just to demonstrate. And if I go to my progress view here now, okay, so I can see other courses where the learner has done a lot more, including being successful. So in this course, computer literacy, I can look at my grades. And if I scroll down, I can see the tasks that have been done in initial assessment where everything was passed correctly. And I can see grades for all the questions in the end test as well. Okay, so just to move on then to the tutor view. So what you can do as a tutor. So you'll be given an account by NALA, so you don't need to create your own account. You don't need to enroll in courses. We'll automatically do all that for you. And if you have any issues at any stage with your account, you can come back to me directly. So we'll give you the account so you can log in and you'll be able to click on a course and look at either class progress or grades. So you will be able to see as a tutor the same view that the learner just saw. So you'll be able to click on a course, click on grades and see results for each activity that's been answered. And you'll also be able to see it in a different view, which is called grades, where there's a color scheme used. Okay. So I'll show you that now. So if I log in here with a tutor account, we'll give you the direct link where you log in, and we'll give you a username, and we'll give you a password. And if at any stage you want to change your password or you forgot your password, you can click on this link, forgot your password, and put in your username. Okay, and then we will send an email to you to allow you to reset your password. So, and the learners can also do that as well. If they want to reset their passwords, they can click on the same link and it will send an email to their email address. So let me just log in as that test tutor and show you the view now that you see as a tutor. So what you're seeing here in this case is very much the same as what a learner would see. So you have your home page. This logo up here where it says Test Center and there's this nice color scheme would be where your logo would appear. So if you're in an E2B, your E2B logo would be there. Or if you're in another center, that logo would appear. So it's very much letting you and your learners know that this is your space on the platform to work away on courses. Okay. What you'll also see then under My Courses is all the courses that are available on the platform. So we are close to having 30 courses available now in the next week. Only 3 more courses to go to reach 30. And all those courses will be available here. So there's preparing for level 3, level 4 when we hope to have that available, hopefully next year. Level 3 information, so that's the digital media course, and general learning courses, and employability skills, which we don't have anything under that at the moment, level 2 courses, and level 1 courses. Okay, so you'll be automatically signed up for all of those. And if as a tutor you wanted to see what learners are signed up for those courses, then you can pick a course. So for example, if I go to the tab for general learning and click on using technology, and now there's a button here called Course Admin that's not available to the learners. And if I click on Class Progress, I'll be able to see all the learners that have signed up for that course. Okay. And I'll be able to get a snapshot of how many times they've logged in. So I can see that there. And if I hover over it, I can see the dates they've logged in. I'll be able to get a snapshot of how much content they visited. So particularly at level 3, there's quite a lot of lessons that we might need learners to do to get through the course, or they can either get the first block right and go straight into the end test as well. And you'll get an idea of their grades. So if they're overall, if they're successful for a QQI award or not. And I can also hover over each of these blocks here. And if you see it changing from questions to tasks, so I can get an idea in this view. But I can also delve a little deeper and see what's happening for learners. So for example, if I pick out my learner here, which is the one that I have just created, so this was learner 101, and I can see then under grades, those grades that the learner had just got. Okay, so I can see that they've passed tasks and they've started on question 1 in the end test, and then they would need to do more. Okay. As a tutor, if I just click on the home page again, if you click on help, then we have also put together Tutor Resources, which I recommend downloading, and a tutor guide. And just to give you an idea of the details within this explains basically everything that I'm doing today and in more detail. So if I go to page 12 and 13, it lists off all the courses that we have available and the number of learning outcomes. Also, there's a link to the QQI descriptor for that course. So for example, that using technology one that we've been looking at, there's a link to the QQI descriptor, and it says that there's 3 tasks and 3 questions to be done. And where there's portfolio work, that'll also be indicated. So For example, level 3, most of the courses have portfolio work, or at least all the courses that we've there at the moment. And at level 2, 2 of the courses have portfolio work. That's writing and listening and speaking. If you want to see that portfolio work as a tutor, so you can get the details of that from the tutor guide, you can click into the course Writing. You can click on Content, just like the learner would do. You can see the tasks that are in that first block. What do I already know? You can see all the lessons, and you could click into a lesson and see all the content in the lesson. So there's always a video that explains what the lesson is about. And then you can see the kind of activities that a learner would do. So there's drag and drop. There's this type of one, which is a drop down, which is, I think, a useful skill for anybody who needs to fill in forms. So they would click on the arrow and then decide what's the right answer. And so on. Okay. And the nice thing compared to Write On with this platform is that you can dip in and out of the content. Okay, so if you were doing something on writing a letter and you wanted to use this in a blended scenario whereby maybe you're showing this on a digital whiteboard or showing it over Teams, you could just go straight into that activity. So you don't have to follow it sequentially. Obviously, the learner has to go through the whole lesson to successfully get through the course, but as a tutor, you could dip in and out like that if you want. This is another type of question called sequencing. And in this one, the learner would need to put things in the right order. So they would drag things to the top. And you can see as I'm moving things, these green bars are appearing here at the side. And you need to keep moving the things until all green bars appear. Okay, so it's a different way of giving feedback as well. So it's not always about points and scores, that you can get feedback in this other way as well. Okay. And the portfolio work that I mentioned, so all the lessons are here, and then the portfolio work is always visible to you as a tutor as well. So we do ask that you get familiar with what courses have portfolio work and really support the learners in submitting the portfolio work. So for example, the course Writing, if I click into portfolio and click into final task, okay, the instructions are there. So in this case, the learner needs to write and handwrite 5 sentences about a topic. So all of the sentences need to be about the same topic. We are recommending to the learner that they get somebody to check their work, like a local tutor, and then that they post it in to us. Now they can upload it online, but we also like to have the hard copy so that we can look at the writing as well, because sometimes if people are taking a photograph of it and putting it in online, they might miss out on pieces. So it's really important that we get that hard copy in as well. And it's really, really important that you check through it as a tutor beforehand. We are looking for correct spelling and grammar and punctuation. So if I just click to the next screen, here's the instructions in more detail. So it says make sure that it starts with a capital letter and finishes with a full stop. Make sure spelling and grammar are correct. And we would also check through things to make sure that if there was 5 submissions, say from a centre in writing, that they're not all the exact same. I know, having been a tutor myself in the past, I might put something up on the board and, ask learners to think about it, but we will be checking to make sure that it's not the same. So it has to be the learner's own words and thoughts as well, but that you've checked through it and make sure that you're happy with it. And that the work is only submitted when that end test is successfully done. Okay. As a tutor, you will not see the end test. So even if you were to run through this as a tutor yourself and go through all those tasks, or go through all the lessons, or a combination of both, the end test won't appear to you. So that's to protect, I suppose, the integrity, you could say, of our end tests. But you will be able to check the progress for learners. So if I again just go to the home page and click on another course, maybe a level 3 one like digital media, and click on course admin and class progress, then I can see that there's one learner who's enrolled in it. And if I click into them and grades, I can scroll down first of all under other items and see all the tasks. Okay, so if I start at the bottom here, I can see that task 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 have all been passed, but task 7 says go to lesson. So for this learner to progress through the course, they would have to go and do lesson number 7. It's important to note that task 7 will always stay as go to lesson. So even when the learner goes and does lesson 7, this grade will always stay as that. This feedback here is really just an indicator that that's what the learner needs to do. Now I can check and see if the learner has done lesson 7 by going to content. And in here I can see the block, what do I already know? I can see lesson 1, 2, 3, and it looks like nothing has been done. Lesson 4, lesson 5, not done. And lesson 7 has been done. So they have done everything that they need to do to get through the course. So even though this course has got 10 learning outcomes and there's 10 lessons, which means there would have been 10 tasks in that initial test, the learner in this case doesn't need to do all the lessons because they got all the other tasks right. But they need to brush up their skills in the area of this lesson 7 so that they could get through the course. And even when I scroll down here, I can see that the end test is there. So it says conditionally released. So the learner has done everything they need to do to get the test to appear, and that they have done everything in the end test by the looks of it. If I want to see the grades for that, then I click on grades and scroll down under graded items, and I can see all the questions. Okay, at level 3, which this is, there's 2 questions for every learning outcome in the end test. So that's why we have 7.1 and 7.2. So if I scroll on down through here and just go back over it, it looks like the learner has done everything correctly. Okay, so everything is passed, but there is portfolio work that needs to be done. And if I want to see what that portfolio work is, I can just click into the course again, content. On that lessons page, scroll down and click on the portfolio, and I can see that there's 4 tasks that have to be done. Okay, so the first one, the learner needs to take some screenshots. The second one, they need to send a text. The third one, they need to take some photos and upload it. And the fourth one, they need to shoot 2 very short videos and upload them. So if I want to see how the learner got on in those, assuming that I've helped the learner in submitting the work, I can click on course admin and class progress again. Click on that learner, and under grades, I can see in here that there is grades for those portfolio tasks. So there's the first one. And if I click on feedback, there's feedback from a NALA tutor who would grade that portfolio work. Okay, so you as a tutor in a centre will always be able to see the feedback that we give on the portfolio work that's submitted as well. Okay, so then there's more feedback here, and it says that the instructions need to be followed very carefully. The instructions need to be about taking photographs, what to do with them, and the different types of images, okay, and so on. So we'll always give feedback, And it just means then the learner needs to go and resubmit the work again. So what I'd be advising to this learner, who's called Test Learner 4, is that they need to do that portfolio work. And if I just log in as my learner, just to show you that learner's view, okay, then as a learner, I'm clicking on the course Digital Media and Content, and I can scroll straight down to Portfolio and then look at the tasks, and I can see my submission there, and I can also see the feedback that I got. Okay, so the first one I passed, the second one I haven't done it, so it's not marked as complete. And then the third one where I got feedback, and I can see when the feedback was given, I can then simply click in here and upload another file. So that's how the work is submitted. Okay, so we're coming to the end of the demonstration. I'll open it up. If there's any questions now, feel free to put up your hands or use the question symbol or the hand raise symbol beside your name, and I'll go and open it up for questions, and I can unmute you. Okay. Okay. So I just see that there's one from Maeve. So Maeve, I'm going to unmute you if you like, and feel free to come in.
Great. Thank you very much. That was really beneficial. Thank you so much. Enjoyed that presentation. I could see how this would be very useful to both the actual students and also the tutors. I was just wondering if also if anyone might have any further contributions in relation to how they're using, I suppose, technology tools in their teaching and in their curriculum.
Yep, great question, Maeve. And you know, it's certainly one that I get asked a lot about, how people are integrating Learn with NALA into their teaching, but also other aspects of digital media. So if there's anybody who'd like to come in on that, if you want to raise your hand, I can unmute you. You can also feel free to type it into the questions box.
And actually, that's a very good point. So basically, is anybody using Learn with NALA? Are they integrating it into their programs currently?
So if anybody wants to come in on that, feel free to do so, or as I say, type it into the questions box.
Thanks so much.
Okay, Fiona, I just see that you've put your hand up, so I'm just going to unmute you, Fiona, if you want to come in.
Hi there, everyone, and thanks very much, Katrina. We're, I suppose, really kind of launching this within our organisation at the moment, so it's kind of new to, I suppose, ourselves and to our participants. So, but we found this demonstration here this morning very good. So thanks for that. But I do know as well that the NALA website, you have an awful lot more kind of resources as well. So, you know, I suppose we would be looking at utilising them, and I suppose we'd be doing an awful lot of learning as we go as well. So that's the way I think we're going to approach it here.
Okay, great. Thanks, Fiona. And Fiona, can I ask, in terms of other digital media, are there other things that you're using at the moment, or is there anything that you found, you know, really good in lockdown times?
We haven't really, I suppose really just during lockdown and that our education and training has really been on hold because we've been mainly prioritising COVID, and even just the last couple of weeks, even the vaccinations as well. So that has been our kind of number one. So that's why we want to kind of really relaunch this now that our key working and we're sort of coming back to some level of normality with all the vaccines between staff and participants. So that's where we think now we can relaunch this education and training part to the organisation.
Okay, great.
That's great.
Thanks, Fiona.
You're welcome.
Okay, I see that there's a question in from Kira about knowing in advance how many questions are in each section, and that's a very good question. In that tutor guide, which is available when we give you your tutor account, go to the home page and help. We've put in there all the questions and tasks. So for example, that digital media course that I was talking about, if I scroll down to find that, so there's 10 learning outcomes. There's a link to the descriptor. So that's going to be 10 tasks. And because it's level 3, just to make it more difficult, because the stakes are higher, you know, you're talking about junior cert level and thereabout, we've put in 20 questions. So there'll be 20 questions numbered 1.1, 1.2, all the way up to 10.1, 10.2. And it also mentions here that there's 4 portfolio tasks, which are the ones that we were looking at as well. So you can use that tutor guide. Kiera, if there's anything else that you want to come in on there, I can unmute you now. So feel free if you want to come in and ask anything else if you like.
Okay, can you hear me there?
Yes, perfectly.
Yeah, great, thank you. Yeah, that was really informative, thank you. So I suppose I used the write-on before, and that was the part that I found difficult, is that when you were launching into it, I didn't know when it was going to end for the student.
Sure.
And some of the sections were quite long. So it's good to know that you know what to expect. And I suppose for me, it's kind of having, and I assume it's only over time that you'll get used to knowing how long each section would take, you know, so that you're timing it with your class, because sometimes I found I had to just stop something because we just never got to the end of the section, you know.
Yeah.
So I assume that you can just kind of stop at any point and come back to it.
Yeah, very much so. What I would recommend is that when you're doing the initial assessments, the block what do I already know, to try and do that in one go. Usually there's, well, not usually, there's always just one question per learning outcome. So the longest course we have, I think, is maths, which is 21 learning outcomes. So that would be 21 tasks here. But what we've done with maths, if I just see maths here, we have broken down the maths end tests into 3 sections. So before, we would have had 42 questions that the learner would need to do. And we always used to recommend try and do it in one go if you can, because it is an assessment, and try and keep that flow going. Whereas now we've broken it down into 5 end tests. So if you can see there on screen, we have section 1 numbers, which is made up of 5 lessons, section 2 measurement, which all maps to the QQI descriptor, the way that they've done it out. So for a learner to do their 5 end tests in this, they could do each end test, one at a time. So I think that's a lot more manageable for learners as well. And it's more, bite size. So hopefully then they'd feel that they're progressing without having to sit down and do 42 questions all in one go.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. I'll just have a scan through and see if there's any other questions. So as I say, feel free to raise your hands or to put a question into the questions box. And maybe while we're just waiting for those questions to come in, I'm just going to launch a poll. These polls are really, I suppose, to get an idea about what you're doing with your learners at the moment and what more we can do in NALA as well to support you. So the first poll that I'm launching there now is about what areas you and your learners are interested in. So whether that's going to be QQI level 1, QQI level 2, QQI level 3, non-QQI, and if it's non-QQI, if there's a particular area that you're interested in, because that's something that we're interested to do in NALA, to maybe look at health literacy, media literacy, and other areas. Okay. So just while you're choosing your answer there, I'll just tell you what's coming up on my screen here. So at the moment, it seems to be that most people are working with learners at QQI level 1 and level 3. So I am pleased to say that all the Write On content that was at level 1 on Write On is now all on the new platform. We still have some level 3 courses that we need to bring across, so that'll be the priority for later this year and into next year. And we're trying to get that, preparing for level 3, those new courses out in the next week as well. So hopefully that will help people moving to level 3. Okay, thank you for that one. The next poll is about what the greatest barrier is at the moment for you and your learners potentially to use this platform. So is it lack of devices or up-to-date devices for learners? We do say that this platform has to be used on Google Chrome. It can be used on Firefox as well, and to make sure that you're using the latest version of the browsers. I've used it myself on my old iOS Apple 5 phone and it works okay. But the older laptops, you know, there may be difficulties certainly. So just to be aware of that. Are there other priorities for learners and staff, obviously due to COVID at the moment? Is it lack of time due to work demands? Or maybe if you're unsure about the platform, and with that, when we set you up as tutors and I email you, you can feel free to contact me, and I'm happy to do one-to-one sessions with tutors as well, just to go through any questions that you have, because there is a lot there, you know. And in the old days with Write On, I would have been able to come out on site and do training, which unfortunately we can't do at the moment. Okay, so mostly what seems to be coming back is unsure about the platform, followed by maybe lack of devices. I will put my email up at the end, and you can feel free to contact me at any time if you want to do a follow-up to this today. That's no problem at all. Okay, thank you for that one. And the last poll I'm going to put up is, what is the best way we in NALA can help you? So is it more webinars on different aspects of the platform? Is it free phone support? So you can call us at any time on 1-800 20 20 65, and your learners can as well. Is it more resources like videos, guides, handouts? Is it one-to-one or small groups? So maybe a group of tutors in your centre, we could come together and do a call on Teams or Zoom. Or are there other ways? If there's other things that we're not doing, we're happy to hear that and to try and act on it. So I'll give you a minute just to fill that out. Okay. And mostly what seems to be coming back is one-to-one or small group calls. So I'm just going to give you another second just to fill that out. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to put your questions into the questions box as well, or raise your hand. Okay, so I've just put up here at the end some emails. And if you have any queries, you can contact me. That's cwhelan@nala.ie. If you're interested in getting registered as a centre, you can email mou@nala.ie. If you have general queries, then it's freephone@nala.ie. If you're signing up with us as a centre and need to get your membership in, then that's mmurray@nala.ie. And for CPD, so that's professional development for yourselves, it's gharris@nala.ie. And just finally, to show you on that, if you go to courses.nala.ie, and click on Tutor Courses, then there's courses there that are available to you that are free, so you can register there for those courses yourselves. And then those courses will appear when you log in to Learn with NALA under the My Courses tab. Your CPD courses will be available to you there. If you're interested in becoming a centre, you can click on Become a Centre and then fill out this form, and that'll start the process then to become a registered centre as well. So that's really it for today. It's just 2 o'clock. So thank you very much for your time. We hope you found this useful. A survey will pop up. If you just take a minute or two to fill that out, that'd be great. And if you have any questions, as I say, feel free to come back to me, and hope you have a lovely afternoon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Really useful. Thank you.